Alright, so the other day I was browsing YouTube and I came across this. Then I thought to myself, holy crap, it's been 20 years. It's been that long since the PS2 came out. Man, how time flies. So I wanted to take this opportunity to make a video in honor of the PS2 and just talk about my personal experience with this awesome console. What is there to say about this console that hasn't already been said? Probably nothing, but I want to put in my 2 cents. I think I'll start off by talking about when I first laid eyes on the PlayStation 2, like firsthand personally. And this was way back in around 2005, 2000, late 2004 probably. And I actually saw it firsthand at my grandma's house. And I remember seeing my uncle playing Driver 3 actually. And as a kid, my mind was blown. I was just so used to the PS1 and the consoles before that, like the Sega Genesis and the Atari. Don't get me wrong, I love those older consoles to death, but going from the leap from the old 16-bit, 8-bit games to the PS1, and then the leap from the PS1 to the PS2 was just mind-boggling to me as a kid. It was just something that I couldn't comprehend. But yeah, actually I arrived to the PS2 party pretty late. I think I bought my first PS2 console in 2005. It was summer. I just finished 5th grade, and I remember my dad asking us what we wanted, for as a gift for passing 5th grade. What do we want to for summer? So me and my brother, we looked at each other and we were like, "Can we get a PS2?" And Dad was like, "Sure." So we drove off to the nearest shop and we picked up our PS2. And back then, I remember when you got a new console, you would get 10 free games with it. But keep in mind, this was bootleg games. Our PS2s were modded back then, so you could get a single PS2 game for $3. So yeah, you would get 10 games, I believe, with your console. I don't exactly remember the full 10 list, but the games that come to my mind that I remember were GTA 3, Tekken 5, Lord of the Rings. It was the turn-based game. I can't remember its name. And there was a Super SNES station thing with a bunch of old Mario games. So yeah, those are the games that come to my mind. But man, I remember I was so excited as a kid to take that bad boy back home. And the first game I remember firing up on my PS2 was Tekken 5. And keep in mind, the last Tekken game I owned was Tekken 3 on the PS1, and I remember I played Tekken 4 on the arcade, but Tekken 5 was it was like Tekken 3, Tekken 5 for me. So I remember when I first started up the game, and then you got this little mini game kind of thing when the game was loading. I forgot the name of the minigame, but you're in a starship and you're shooting at other enemy starships. And then finally the game started. You had this soothing intro in the start, and that whenever I look at that intro, it just takes me back. It just takes me back to a trip down memory lane, dude. And then seeing my favorite characters fully rendered into the next generation, the evolution of the characters from Tekken 3 to Tekken 5, and then that song playing in the background, it used to give the hairs on my arm would stand straight up, man. It used to give me goosebumps for the longest time, and it still does from time to time, but it was amazing. It was truly a sight to behold for me. I can't even begin to count how many hours we spent in front of the screen after we got our PS2. And the variety was just so much, it was so mind boggling. We wouldn't even know what to play because there was just it was just such a layered cake to bite into, whether it would be finishing up the individual stories for each character on Tekken 5, or playing GTA 3 and finishing some missions, exploring the world. Same thing with Driver 3. Um, I remember Cold Winter was also one of the first games I got on the system. But playing that, wanting to know what happens next with this whole uh, covert Black Ops MI6 scenario that's going on. Man, those were the days. Another thing I remember is when, like, the first days that we had our console, we didn't get a memory card, and I'm not sure how long we lasted without a memory card, but it wasn't for a long time. That I can say for sure. Like, even the memory card that I have right now is the same exact one that I've had since day one, like since I first bought the PS2. I mean, it's the first memory card that I have. Still going strong, still alive, still got, you know, my save files. Not all of them, unfortunately, but still have some save files saved on there. I don't condone bootlegging games and all that. Um, but that like, as I said before, that was the state of the market back when when I got my PS2, because I got it a bit late. So by that time you had modded PS2s and all that. And there's another thing. I only recently found out that the PS2 was actually region locked, and I never knew this because the PS2s that we had were modded. And almost all like 95% of the PS2 games that I've owned were bootleg games, and they were dirt cheap too. They were like around $2 or $3. So the good thing about that is that you could experience as many games as you could, as you could afford. There was a wide variety, a wide selection. However, the disadvantages to that is the developers weren't seeing the money that they deserved, and those discs went bad pretty quick. Like, if you were careless with the discs, they wouldn't last very long. So you really had to take care of the discs. Speaking of bootlegged and original games, I had quite a few of them, and the one I fondly remember is Tenchu: Wrath of Heaven. I actually ordered a used copy through Amazon, but unfortunately, those days, I'm talking about like 2007, 2008, they wouldn't deliver video games or movies, and there were certain items that Amazon wouldn't deliver to the UAE back then. So we were going on a family trip to the States, to the United States. So we sent it to the address that we were staying there, and when we were there, I picked it up. So it's funny because the sender, the previous owner, was from Moscow. So the item went from Moscow all the way to the USA, and then it came back with me to the UAE. So that's crazy. But I would say I got a nice exposure to a different variety of games through my grandma's house, because my uncles, they had like a little case where they kept all their games, and there were a bunch of different games. There was The Getaway, Black Monday. There was Soul of the Samurai. Oh, I'm sorry, not Soul of the Samurai. Way of the Samurai. It's called Way of the Samurai. There was Samurai Western, Onimusha, different types of games. Ape Escape. Was it Ape Escape? No, I don't think it was Ape Escape. It was the one with the monkeys in the balls. I don't remember what it was called, but it was that. And there are a bunch of other games that I haven't played, that I don't even know about. Like I recently just finished God Hand, and like years later, after I stopped playing the PS2, I mean, I knew about Kingdom Hearts, but I could never find a copy of the game. In fact, I actually thought, when I used to see footage of the game on YouTube back in the day, for some reason I always thought it was like a mod of some sorts. But then I found out it was actually a game of in itself. And one of my best friends uh, actually introduced me to the series, and I picked up the HD collection back in 2013. And I remember, even if you look at some of the re-releases that they do right now, like the HD remasters, you still have like the PS2 games coming onto the newer system. So that goes to show how timeless this console is, and how the games that came out on that system were just so epic, you know. I really hope that I can go back and discover some hidden gems that I haven't played, and maybe record them and post them on the channel in the future. And I think I've said my piece. I think I've given my 2 cents on regarding the PS2's 20th birthday. So happy birthday, PS2. I'm a little late on the video, but yeah. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking out till the end. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and stay tuned for whatever videos we might have in the future. Thanks. Peace out.